Hey guys, and welcome back to my Let's Play of the PlayStation 2 and Wii version of Sonic Unleashed. At the end of the last part, we met up with Tails, and he said that he knows a famous professor that may be able to help us out with our current situation. Professor Pickle, over at Spagonia University. So, with no time to waste, we must head back to Apossus, because we still have a few other missions that we've unlocked during our time here. So the first one, we unlocked this mission. After finishing all of the daytime stuff, I just forgot to go and do it before entering the night stages. So we have a bunch of other missions to do. We also unlocked several little training things for the werehog. And the first thing we're going to do is this. Reach the goal unscathed. So there's several day stages that are like this. And, well, the name speaks for itself, really. You have to get to the goal ring, but you can't get hurt. In some of these, there are rings to collect. But even if you have rings, you cannot afford to get hurt. It will still be an instant mission fail should you get hurt. But naturally, we have to avoid the interceptor. There is an annoying part of this level where I did get hurt by the interceptor because Sonic decided he didn't want to quick step all the way to the end of the screen. Thankfully, that doesn't happen here. Because I mean, it's completely random on whether or not he's going to attack the sides or attack the front, regardless of whether or not Sonic is actually right in the middle. So even with all these rings, if I was to get hurt now, this mission would still end. Several of the missions that are here for Sonic, they are here for the werehog as well. So the werehog does have missions where he can't... where it's a similar title, like it still says reach the goal without taking damage. But you can take damage, it's just the werehog starts with less health. But he only has a very small fraction of health. But unlike this, he can heal. Like you can get more health for the werehog. So really, the challenge is just don't get hurt at the beginning. As long as you keep defeating enemies, you'll get your health back. The werehog does have stuff that requires you not to break objects on your way to the goal ring. They are quite annoying for the werehog. Naturally, there are combat challenges, as you would expect. Some find the treasure challenges. We'll be seeing all of these as we go along, except all of the werehog's missions, they are completely optional. The only werehog stuff you ever have to do that isn't the training in Apossus are the main acts. Whereas with the day stages, you have one main act and then you have a bunch of mandatory missions, but there's also a bunch of optional missions. Most of these are unlocked as you go through the Gaia Gate, but there are also some that will unlock as you complete certain stages. Like we unlocked that one just by going through, it was either that one or this one, because they do place them in a random order on the stage select. So we unlocked a mission. I think it was just that one for now. Okay, yeah, it was. Yeah, it was just that one. Okay. So we unlocked that one just by completing all of the regular mandatory missions in Apossus, which makes me wonder why they didn't just make that one mandatory anyway. And most of the day stages do that. I think it's actually only Shamar and Adabat. I think they're the only two that don't do that. Now, even Eggman Land does it, and it's completely pointless then because it's the only other daytime mission that Eggman Land has. I mean, maybe it's just because they thought, well, you've already gone through the stage like 2.5 times. We're not going to make you go through it another half. We're not going to make you go through half the stage again. So, maybe that's why they didn't do it, or they just wanted Eggman Land to have one more mandatory daytime stage, which is weird, because Eggman Land has a lot of optional nighttime stuff. It's surprising, really, how many optional things there are for the werehog when he had there's 5 acts in Eggman Land for the werehog. They really wanted to give the werehog a lot of attention in Eggman Land, even the optional stuff. So the rest of this is our training stuff. So every time the werehog unlocks a new unlocks a new ability, you can go to Apossus, Apotos, wherever it is, and you can then do a little training thing for it. Even though you've probably already practiced the ability in the main stages after you unlocked them. But hey, we can do it. So we just had one for the Wereclaw, now we have one for the Werewallop thing. The thing is, these are... you cannot fail these missions. The only way you can fail these missions is if you stood there and waited for either the werehog's health to go down, if it's small enough. Which, given... I'm not sure if that might actually be too big even there. Like 30 seconds. Unless I stood still for 30 seconds there is no failing that mission, or the Wereclaw one. All you have to do is perform the ability one time. Doesn't have to be on an enemy. All you have to do is just perform the ability once, and there you go. The loading times to get to the mission takes longer than the mission itself. Especially when you constantly have this in the background appearing as well. It's not really a background, it's right there in front of us. So I don't know why they even bothered. It couldn't have at least had like a montage level. You just have to practice everything. It's kind of like what the other training stuff did. The mandatory was like, we learned how to jump. We learned how to dash all together. We learned how to climb up poles. We learned how to swing on poles. We learned how to climb ledges all in one mission. I guess since the abilities are all unlocked in different orders, they couldn't do that. They're unlocked at different times. This one, on the other hand, I don't know why this isn't a mandatory training mission. So this is Unleashed mode. I don't think I've showed it off at this point. So this is the first time we're going to be seeing it. Again, you can use this right from the beginning. So I don't know why this isn't just something that you're taught how to use. Instead, it's a completely optional mission. So when you have your little blue gauge at the bottom of the screen underneath your health bar, when that's... I don't know if it actually has to be full. I'm not sure how full it has to be. In the HD version, there's a little bar. I think when it's at its lowest setting, that is full. But later on, it will there's like a little bar, and it will always have a sound effect when it reaches that bar, and that's when you can activate Unleash mode, but you can continue to make it bigger. But in this version, I don't know if it actually has to be full, I'm not sure, but if you press L1 and R1 together, it'll make Sonic glow. You can knock enemies out of the way, that's exclusive to this version. I don't think it really does any damage, it sort of just stuns them a little bit. And then your attacks are stronger. In the HD version, it also makes Sonic faster, which is weird because that also affects his running speed. His dash is exactly the same. When he runs, he does go faster, and it looks so... It's like looking at Sonic the Hedgehog just running sped up. It's hilarious, I love it. And his attacks are faster. Here, he's not faster, he's just stronger. But some of his abilities are also different. So the Wereclaw is that sort of fireball hand charging movement, which is a standard move in the HD version. It's the one I use most often, actually. I usually do it it's usually my first attack. To any enemy, I'll go up and do that attack. And that's when I begin punching it afterwards. But here, it's exclusive to Unleashed mode. It's the equivalent of the Wereclaw. The Wallop, whatever it was called, it sort of does like a couple of aerial attacks and then there's a massive kick at the end. I want to say that's in the HD version, I'm not sure. And then the final ability, which we're not going to be seeing until much later on, he will spin his arms around. Now that is a move, that's a very powerful move actually in the HD version, but it's one that's got to be charged. So it is one I try to use when I can. It is very effective when you use it, but it's quite difficult to get the timing right for it. And then now, at the very bottom, like I said, it tends to place the missions in a random order, because this was the first ability we unlocked. I think it was, anyway. No, the Wereclaw was the first thing we unlocked. This was the second one we unlocked. The full combo. But we finally did that mission. Right, I think that's all of the missions, but because I now have 14 of each kind of medal, technically it's over that now, but when I had 14 of each medal, we unlocked our first Gaia Gates, or our first door inside a Gaia Gate. I guess they're bonus rooms, I'm not really sure what they are. So still, we will get to Professor Pickle. Trust me, we are in a massive rush here. Don't worry though, this game takes place over like 2 weeks. Sonic doesn't sleep throughout any of this. And it is impressive how a tiny plane is capable of getting from continent to continent across the world in 5-10 minutes. That's all it takes to fly across the entire planet. That's all it needs. So again, yeah, this is why I don't tend... that animation, that's the main reason. I'm impatient, like Sonic, even more so. That's why I don't tend to come in here when it's nighttime in Apossus, but I can't change the time of day yet. We don't have the hourglasses in the HD version. We have to wait until the continent's in place before we can change the time. Not that it really does much. Because by the time the content is restored, characters only have like 1 or 2 quotes left. And then they'll just say the same thing again and again every time you speak to them throughout the game. So these are Gaia Gates. Well, the whole thing is the Gaia Gate. These are the challenge rooms inside the Gaia Gates. Once you have enough Sun and Moon medals, the metal images on the door, the metal images on the door will become coloured, and then you can go up to them and open the door. And inside awaits a bunch of challenges. And I missed the item box. And inside these you can get a bunch of extra things. These can include the normal extras like that. Most of the time it is soundtracks. I find you come across them more often than anything else, and I missed the jump. It probably wants you to do it as a werehog. No, because there's a sun thing over there. No, there isn't. Yeah, it probably wants you to double jump up there as the werehog. And, I don't know how I made that. It's a good thing that that death plane is really low down. Usually it's soundtracks in the Gaia Gates, but you can come across the other things, the artwork, the movies, the documents. You can come across keys, and there's not really a lot of them in the early Gaia Gates, but later on you're going to come across mission keys. And when you see that gold item up there, that's telling you that you've collected everything in the room. But this is weird. So after a few seconds, Sonic will turn back into the werehog. But if you're crawling, it never happens. That glow will continue to stay around Sonic, but he will never transform. I don't know what happened there, but I couldn't grab a hold of the thing again. But he will never transform back as long as you are crawling. I don't know why, but that's a thing. He'll never turn back when he's crawling. The Gaia Gates can be quite tedious. Sometimes the puzzles are really simple, other times they're not. And a lot of it is just waiting around for platforms. But you also, in almost every single one, you have to switch. You have to come across these beams of light which will turn the werehog back into Sonic for a few seconds. The thing is, you often just need to do that to perform one ability, usually a lightspeed dash, which you do in a matter of seconds, and then you're waiting around for like 15 seconds, unable to do anything because you need the werehog to do the next bit. That's my main problem with the Gaia Gates, it's just a lot of waiting around. The best thing about the Gaia Gates really is just that you can unlock, you get more lives. Lives are different in this game, they're permanent, and you don't get that many of them. So we're at Spagonia now, so this is Lucia, I think. I'd say, for the longest amount of time, I thought she was a boy. She does have her hair in a bun, but you can't see that due to the image. It's like in the HD version, you see the two of them, you don't see them together, she has a brother. And they're always together in the HD version. That girl, the other girl, Ippolita, I think is her name. Like, she's always by herself, or she's with her grandmother. Like, you never see them together here. We don't even know how they know each other. Okay, so this is the assistant. Busy, busy, busy. Sorry, I can't help you right now. Where is the laboratory? The laboratory? Oh, the lab. Are you looking for the professor? He's vanished in the thin air. I'm having a hard time finding him myself. I should explain. First, I'll direct you to the lab. Please go on ahead. Hang on, if you're the one who's supposed to be explaining things, why are we going into the lab first? Now this is a backwards face. Look at Tails' reaction here. This is the place, Sonic. Professor Pickle's laboratory. He looks really shocked. But then the next line he looks fine. The assistant guy said he'd vanished. Let's go in and see if he's here.
Professor Pickle's been kidnapped?
It was a little bit before the tremors hit. This old man showed up with a whole pack of robots. They carried poor Professor Pickle off, lab data and all.
It can't be.
That sure sounds like Eggman.
What a horrible thing to do. We've got to go help that professor guy out, and fast. If he got kidnapped that long ago, he's got to be real hungry by now. And if I was that hungry, I don't know how long I would last. I'd rather be dead.
I'm sure Eggman is feeding him. Even he's not that cruel.
Okay. Let's go and find the professor.
So there you have it, folks. The second best character in the game. I mean, nobody tops Eggman. but the second best character in the game. Why would Eggman kidnap the Professor? What's he up to now? That's it. Somehow the Professor's research threatens Eggman. And if it does, then his notes will probably give us a clue. Let's see. Here we are, a mysterious hole in Missouri. I apologize for my terrible acting. Act now and think on it later. Time to head to Missouri, Sonic. Yeah, Professor Pickle's assistant. This old man showed up with and a whole pack of robots. Oh, Jason Griffith's best performance. Best character in the game after Eggman. He is the most useless assistant ever. Like he is an assistant that we never see do any assisting. He even says to us later in the game, I may not be of much assistance. You're the assistant. How many times do I have to say the word assistant? So we're off to Missouri, and as we can clearly see, it's on a different continent to Apophis, but they're both on the same tectonic plate. So this technically still counts as the first continent. The continents are actually numbered in this version, which is weird because Chenan is the second continent to be restored, but it's classified as the third continent, but it's the fourth continent you visit. I don't know why they bothered numbering them. It's really confusing, especially when the clues for the items, they tell you to go to first continent, Gaia Gate. So is that Apophis or Missouri? Because they're both the first continent's Gaia Gate. Yet they're actually on separate land masses. They're just on the same tectonic plate. The plates are really weird. I don't think this is how continents work in real life. I wonder what Pangea looked like in Sonic's world. Although the continents change in each game. Like everything looks more normal in Shadow the Hedgehog. So when we first visit Missouri, there's nobody here. We never see anybody. There are villagers here in the HD version. There's no stage in Missouri. That's the weird thing. We just immediately find Professor Pickle by going to this mysterious hole.
Professor Pickle! Are you alright? We got here as fast as we could. Professor?
Hello?
How dare they call this culinary concoction food? Look here, do you see this sorry excuse for a sandwich? The bread should be no less than 3/4 of an inch thick. Upon it, 1 tablespoon of mayonnaise and a pinch of black pepper. The contents, fresh cucumber, sliced thinly, if you please. Am I quite right, Tails?
I know I learned something here today.
Professor, it's good to see you haven't changed.
But tell me, what brings you here? The menu is hardly worth the trip, if you ask me.
No, Professor. We came here to rescue you.
Oh, I see. How rude of me. Right then, first things first. It's about time someone taught the chef here how to make a proper sandwich.
You can file a complaint later, Professor.
Let's get out of here before Eggman's welcoming committee shows up.
Oh, yes, quite. But let us be sure to collect the contents of that vault before departing. Ah, thank you. Those documents are our only hope for surviving this crisis. Let's go. There's no time to lose. I'm half starved after being fed nothing but those terrible sandwiches.
Want some chocolate, Professor?
My. Don't mind if I do. These ancient documents are known as the Gaia manuscripts. They tell the legend of a disaster that befell our planet some tens of thousands of years ago.
A disaster?
Quite. And according to the Gaia manuscripts, this isn't the first time the planet has been broken apart into pieces. The cause lies at the very core of the planet. All the phenomena we've witnessed are the direct result of one creature. The hyper-energy organism spawned at the planet's core, Dark Gaia.
So how do we stop this Dark Gaia and put the world back together?
Luckily, Dark Gaia has yet to be fully reborn. We most likely have Dr. Eggman's premature wake-up call to thank for that. If we act now, we may be able to restore the planet by returning power to the Chaos Emeralds. Sonic, you must travel to each of the temples listed in the Gaia manuscripts. The planet's power will restore the Chaos Emeralds, and in turn, the Chaos Emeralds will restore the planet and help it heal naturally.
Right, so there we go. It was that easy. Now, where are the Gaia Temples? Deciphering the Gaia manuscripts will reveal the location of the temples. The initial results of my analysis indicate there is a temple in Missouri. Eggman seeks the same clues we do, those that lead to Gaia Temples. With Dark Gaia unstable, we get the upper hand. Off to Missouri. Yeah, that's it. We rescue Professor Pickle just like that. There are no stages in Missouri in this version. There are in the HD version, but other than the boss fight, which we'll get to next part, there are no stages in Missouri. I'll get more into that in the next part, because Missouri isn't the only missing stage. There's also Empire City that's not in here at all. It's nowhere to be seen. So I'll get more into that next time.